This is the Therapeutic community. It's a small satellite of Dovegate, within the Dovegate grounds, housing 200 prisoners. The essence of the Therapeutic community is to deal with the criminogenic behaviour of prisoners who want to break the cycle of crime. They actually want to do something to address their offending behaviour, and they do that through small council groups in the communities, of which there's 4 within the TC. Those groups and communities get together. They spend about 2 years here, and in that period of time they look at the underlying factors of why they committed crime with a view to addressing them and hopefully going out into society better people. This here is the Market Square. It's designed purely to get away from prisons. It's nothing like a prison, so that prisoners cannot use the excuses of I'm in prison, so therefore my behaviour warrants me behaving like a prisoner. What we're looking at here is the Market Square, and at the backdrop there you can see the Assessment and Resettlement Unit and High Intensity Programme. Prisoners that come to the Dovegate Therapeutic community go into the High Intensity Programme for assessment prior to actually entering into the communities. And that's really where staff get to know them, they get to know if they can work with them, they find out what their problems are, and then they put them into the relevant communities so they can address their particular aspects of their crimes and past history. My name is Ray Duckworth. I'm the Deputy Director of a male Category B prison, HMP Dovegate. My responsibilities are for the operations of the entire prison. And that's from the residential function, locking prisoners up, looking after prisoners on the wings, to the security function, the facilities function, the operations, absolutely everything to do with running the prison. That's my role. Yeah, there is. As a Christian, I must admit, I don't tend to tell many people that of my faith. I don't tend to stand forward for my faith. I've always sort of considered myself inside my role as a closet room Christian. Having said that, the mission has actually brought me forward and made me stand up for what I believe in. Very difficult in this environment, which is a very male, testosterone-led environment, to stamp your mark of authority as the Deputy Director, as well as show the more caring side of my Christian faith. And we know that there are a lot of men who are very, very big in Christ, and they've stepped forward. Biblically, they've stepped up in front of everybody, and they've stood tall. And certainly, the mission for me is certainly been my opportunity to stand up and say, "Hey, I'm a Christian. I believe in what I do, and I can also run a very, very difficult prison." It was birthed about 18 months ago, in actual fact. When I became a Christian 2.5 years ago, we started off by getting God TV into Dovegate, which was my first calling, really. I wanted it to happen, and we met up, and we were the first prison to receive God TV, which was absolutely fantastic. After that, we were in a position as a chaplaincy team, I suppose, of saying, well, what more can we do? Sandy Hicks and David Myers said, well, why don't we do something like a mission, which seemed quite sort of radical for me. And I was really, really sort of keen that we actually do something different. We try something different, and we try and see what impact evangelism has on prisoners. And so we started a year's worth of planning to actually try and achieve that aim. In doing so, surprisingly enough, our first meeting with the local churches in the area saw about 36 churches turn up, all of which were praying for Dovegate, and I didn't know that was the case. I had no idea. So as soon as that happened, I realised we were onto a really big event. And of course, with the help of God TV, we've managed to get a lot of very, very influential speakers into the prison who have made a massive impact on prisoners' lives. Undoubtedly, it's beyond my belief. I have faith, but I didn't realise how powerful God would influence prisoners at Dovegate. What really is remarkable is that we are not changing people's minds, we're changing people's hearts and souls. What I've seen over the last 8 days is prisoners who normally have a front, normally have a face, a mask of, you know, being tough in prison. They've actually dropped that mask. They've actually got smiles on their face. I've seen physical changes in people's behaviour and facial features because they've actually got God in their lives. And I believe that when people take God into their lives, it is a massive change in their behaviour, a massive change in their outlook on life. They actually gain hope. You know, they spend a lot of time coming to prison, they're in and out of prison, spend a lot of time, you know, thinking about either the next job or thinking about what they were going to do out in prison. Now they're thinking a bit further. And I really do feel that prisoners are more respectful with each other. We've had a situation this week where we've mixed vulnerable prisoners with prisoners from the therapeutic community with prisoners from the main population. Unheard of. You know, up to 110 or so prisoners in one place who would normally not get on. I've seen them shake their hands. I've seen them show the brotherly love that we know we can receive in Christ. And it's been absolutely a wonderful experience. But in addition to that, what is even more remarkable is we have 36 churches now who are all speaking to each other, and we've created this network of churches which are actually focusing on a central objective, which was the mission. And as a result of that, they're actually bonding together into one faith, one faithful community around Dovegate. So Dovegate is becoming that shining light, which you know, in Matthew it talks about the shining light. Don't hide it underneath a pot. The fact of the matter is we're not. And what we've done is we've created a ripple effect now throughout all the churches in the area who all hold Dovegate in their hearts. And this will spur more and more events such as this, because I really do want to bring Christianity into prisons. The prison service talk about a multi-faith agenda. Christianity is part of that multi-faith agenda. We celebrate the Ramadan at Dovegate, we celebrate that very well, and we're now celebrating Christianity and Christian values. And there's no reason why you can't do that. We mustn't be shy for what we believe in. And I think too many people these days are being shy of their faith. We need to stand firm in our faith. You can still worship and still follow your Christian beliefs in prison as well as out of prison. My ambition and my thoughts are to have Christian events on a monthly basis. I'd love to run a theology school here in Dovegate. My objective is to send out evangelists. That's what I want to do. We've had a number of ex-prisoners come in who are evangelists, and they've spoken of their belief and how God has changed their lives. Well, generally they've had to wait till they've left the prison before that's happened, so they can get the training, etc. I want to train them in prison. I would like to send those prisoners to other prisons and for them to go into the chaplaincy teams and to actually start stirring up, you know, the Christian beliefs, stirring up more and more prisons to do this sort of thing and to bring God into prison. Undoubtedly, it will be fully accredited. It would also give them the ability to actually, the qualifications to stand up and preach about what God's done for them in prison. Not when they've left prison, but in prison. And with that in mind, I think we have 137 prisons in the country, 78,000 prisoners currently locked up in the prison system. I really believe that this method and this way of doing, you know, spreading the gospel will actually serve to improve prisoners' lives and actually make better people leaving prisons. Undoubtedly, revival with prisoners, with staff, with you know, the community. People are absolute that they've got God in the forefront of their mind. A personal walk for me this week has been absolutely incredible. God has been in my life more this week than at any other time in my life. I feel changed. I feel a changed individual. One of the most important things I've learnt this week is faith. My flesh takes over. I think I need more and more prisoners to come to the mission. I'm not happy if I don't get many prisoners to the mission. But the most important thing is God has brought people to the mission. He's brought the right people at the right time. They've given their lives to God. And we will produce from Dovegate men of God who will go out into communities and change people's lives in the community. The ripple effect this will have. And revival is only around the corner. It really is. Okay, the impact the mission has had on the entire company has made people step out for God, interestingly enough. I found out the other day that our Chief Executive Officer is a Christian. Tom Rall, a Christian. He's stood up in a dinner party and said, I'm a Christian and I'm really proud of what Dovegate are doing. I found out also that the Vice Chairman of the Board of Serco is a born-again Christian, Chris Hyman. Absolutely fantastic. People are actually starting to stand up and say, I am a Christian. I like what's happening at Dovegate, which is absolutely fantastic. What's even more remarkable was the lead up to getting God TV into Dovegate was quite a very testing time for everybody, really. And on Wednesday of this week, I had the person that sanctioned God TV coming into Dovegate visited at a quarterly meeting. Usha Penamucci is her name. She's a devoted Christian, massively in love with God. And she came and she sat for the afternoon with us. In that chaplaincy for that day was everybody present who was responsible for bringing God TV to Dovegate. Remarkable, really, because we would never have met had it not been for the mission. So the mission, in actual fact, has brought people to Dovegate, and I believe God is saying, thank you very much. Come and watch, see what's going on. I really firmly believe that. Fantastic, the amount of people who have supported the mission. Communities giving money to raise and support the mission. The launch of the CD, why prisoners telling people what it's like to be a prisoner and what it's like to share their faith and what it's like to have their faith in prison. It's all been absolutely fantastic. Been a life-changing experience for everybody.